If you enjoyed the channel and our video content and would like to support us, you can do this in a couple of ways. You can sign up to our Patreon site, which is a monthly subscription to one of our 4 tiers, each giving you something different from early access interviews up to exclusive unseen footage. There's also the option of a one-off donation via PayPal, which allows you the option to donate an amount of your choice. Both options really help to keep this channel going and to continue putting out regular content for you good folk. So please take a look at aircrewinterview.tv/donate, and I thank you in advance. Thank you and enjoy.
Yes, she did. You've got to bear in mind the aim of the aggressor squadrons is not to be an F-16.
It's like MiG-29.
It's to be whatever the threat is that they're simulating. So it might be MiG-29, it might be Su-27, it might be MiG-21. The threat is whatever they brief the threat that they're going to fly that particular day. So going back to when we flew Red Air, they would brief us specifically, right? This is what we need you to do. We don't want you doing this particular tactic. We want you to operate in this way. So it's a very canned thing. I mean, I talk to friends who have done the aggressor role in both the US Navy and the US Air Force, and it is a really, really specifically trained role. They go out and get special training to actually do that. Fly that particular role as Red Air. Whereas in the UK on squadrons, yes, you might go off and do a 2v2 and 2 of you simulated MiG-23, something like that. But it's not your speciality. For them, being Red Air is a speciality. So yeah, flying against them, flying specific tactics and flying former Soviet type tactics, yes, you could be quite successful against them. But of course, if they got in to shoot you unsighted, you got shot unsighted.
Yeah.
But in the same way, you could get in amongst them and shoot them unsighted. If you can't see the person you're trying to fight, you're probably going to lose.
Of course, yeah.
And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what aeroplane you're in.
Yeah.
And that is a really, really important thing.
Yeah.
To understand in that role. If you can, and that was what, within the F3, we used to try and execute. We used to try and execute tactics that when, at a certain point, we needed to be sneaky. Because we couldn't get in there and turn and burn with them, we had to be sneaky.
Yeah.
So we would try all sorts of devious tactics to try and get unseen into a visual arena.
Yeah.
And if you did, that was great.
Absolutely.
The biggest difficulty in the red flag environment is actually being able to identify who's who.
Right.
Because you all start off, Blue Air start off to the east side, and I can't remember the name of the pass or the line that you pass, and Red Air start here. So when you've got all Blue Air here and you're heading towards Red Air that are over there, anything on your radar is the enemy. Once you've hit that first merge and first airplanes have merged, it is really, really difficult to to be able to identify who's who. So you're almost going, or you are going quite often from a beyond visual range scenario to now you've actually got to visually ID people. And that applies just as equally to Hank in his F-15 than it does to us in our F3. You've got to get in there and visually identify them, which has risk as well. Of course. But of course, it's bringing everybody together. And in fact, that very last trip, we did get a kill against somebody. I think it was a regenerated aircraft in the midst of one of these merges, where we recognised this guy coming in. My backseater had him radar contact, locked him up, and we're trying to get a declaration from the AWACS on him. And the controller on the AWACS was actually a really good mate of mine. And in the end, because we're heading towards this bloke and he's about 8 miles away, and I'm just thinking, we're going to die if we're not careful here. And in the end, I hit the transmit switch and I called out the controller's name to get his attention.
Right.
And it was Matt Grinner, declare. and I called the position on the bloke,
Wow.
and he just came back and he went hostile, poof, and I took the shot, and we killed this guy out. So I think it was one of the only regenerating red air that was coming back in, chasing everybody out of the area.
Wow.
And we got this guy. But it, you know, if I hadn't have got that declaration, I would have been at the merge with him.
Yeah.
I'd probably be in trouble.
Yeah, of course.
Or would have just had to, you know, blow through, hoping that he wasn't going to turn with us.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's risk in everything.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know, and that's the game when you're coming into visual tactics.
Absolutely.
I mean, really hard work, great fun.
Yeah.
I just absolutely love it. Absolutely love it.
I can imagine. But you probably have many memorable stories from Red Flag, if you can share it, maybe a couple with our viewers. But there's one story I've heard a couple of times, and it amazes me. It was with the B1B guys, and they were like, oh, we need an escort. And they were asking the F3 guys, they were like, can you keep up with us? And you're like, yeah. Because he didn't expect it. Have you got any great stories like that for us, Grinner?
I didn't have any experience with B1. The B1 never took part in either of the two flags that I did. Though that is most likely a very, very credible story, because yes, you know, that was one of the advantages that we had over the F15, in that we could go faster than them at low level, and the F16. You know, because you've got a lot of drag on those aircraft at that height, whereas of course actually the F3 was a good pointy aeroplane at low level, and it could go very, very fast at low level. So yeah, you would be able to keep up with the B1. I suppose I think it was the one where we were doing red air, where they had B-52s in, and I remember being vectored across to, you know, low level inbound, and we're heading down behind this mountain peak. There's a range of mountain peaks in the middle of the range. Can't remember what they're called. As we're heading towards this B-52 came around the corner at 250 feet. Whoa. Going, that's big. That's a big aeroplane. I think we shot it anyway, but it does make you wonder how many missiles you would actually have to fire.
Yeah.
At a B-52 to down it, you know, would one AIM-9 work?
Yeah, it's a big
you know,
thing,
with a proximity fuse and a bit of a blast frag warhead, you know, or would it just cause a little bit of shrapnel damage to it? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that. So that's one particular story I remember off there. The one I just told you about, the merge, or the last mission. And this tactic, which actually the leader called rage on, rage off, because those are his action points.
Yeah.
You know, and he had one line which was rage on, one action line which was rage off. There was a lot of things in there, you know, tied in with that. But I do remember that specifically, and that particular engagement.